Have you ever felt an invisible tether pulling you backward, forcing you to relive the same heartache despite your best efforts to evolve? It is a peculiar sensation, one that defies logical explanation. You have read the books, you have attended the seminars, and you have consciously vowed to change your path. Yet, like a ship caught in a silent undertow, you find yourself drifting back toward the same rocky shores. Sometimes the exhaustion you feel isn't physical, it's a profound spiritual fatigue from carrying an ancient ledger you never signed. You strive for progress, yet the same ghosts reappear in different masks, a different partner with the same temper, a different job with the same toxic hierarchy, a different city with the same crushing loneliness. It feels as though you are paying off a debt from a life you don't even remember, a silent tax on your happiness that seems to have no expiration date. Carl Jung, the Swiss pioneer of analytical psychology, suggested that our subconscious isn't just a personal closet for hidden memories or repressed desires. Instead, he proposed the existence of a collective unconscious, a massive shared library of ancestral echoes, primal fears, and unresolved wounds that predate our own birth. In this light, karma isn't a cosmic trap or a vengeful system of eye for an eye punishment. It is simply the name we give to everything within us that remains unintegrated, unacknowledged, and unhealed. It is the psychic residue of lessons we have avoided and truths we have buried. But what if the tides have finally turned? What if those heavy chains which have felt like an immutable part of your identity are finally snapping? Today we explore 4 unmistakable signals that your karmic cycle has concluded. These are not merely abstract theories, they are tangible shifts that manifest in your biology, the quality of your social circles, and the sanctuary of your internal world. If a strange, quiet clarity has recently washed over you, a sense that the storm of your life has finally run out of rain, you might already be walking in freedom. To understand liberation, we must first understand the mechanics of the cage. People often view karma as a heavenly tally sheet, a moral math where good deeds eventually negate the bad. However, from a Jungian perspective, karma is psychological mathematics. It is the emotional and genetic memory stored in our shadow until we bring it into the light of conscious awareness. Jung argued that we aren't born as empty vessels or blank slates. We carry more than just eye color or a predisposition for height. We inherit the compulsions, the silences, and the stagnant energies of those who came before us. These are the karmic footprints, the internal vibrations of what went unsaid or unfaced by our ancestors. They dictate our romantic attractions, our professional failures, and even the recurring imagery in our dreams. To Jung, the ultimate quest of a human life is individuation, the process of becoming a complete, unique being by embracing and integrating the parts of ourselves we once feared or rejected. Karmic loops are the spiritual treadmills that keep us running in place until a lesson is no longer just understood by the mind, but fully embodied by the soul. When we finally look at these patterns without flinching, they lose their electrical charge. We are no longer prisoners of the past. How do you recognize that this liberation has occurred? How do you know the weight is truly gone? Let's examine the 4 profound signs of soul renewal. Sign number 1. Your emotional magnets have lost their charge. The first sign is perhaps the most startling because it involves a change in your fundamental gravity. Think back to your history of relationships or recurring life challenges. You used to find yourself in the same toxic dynamics, experiencing the same betrayals or disappointments under different names. Perhaps you were always the rescuer, attracting people who were perpetually broken. Or maybe you were the victim, constantly finding yourself under the thumb of authoritarian figures. Whether it was a fear of being left or a habit of choosing people who couldn't love you back, these cycles felt like destiny. No matter where you moved or what you changed about your appearance, the same emotional weather followed you. But then, a quiet revolution begins. The shift is subtle at first. You encounter someone who, a year ago, would have sent your heart racing, someone who embodies the familiar pain you used to mistake for passion. But this time, the trap no longer interests you. You don't feel the pull. You spot the red flags not just as a logical thought, but as a physical sensation, a tightening in your gut or a coldness in your chest. Crucially, your nervous system stays calm instead of jumping into the fire. In the past, the chaos felt like home. Now, the chaos feels like an intrusion. You don't need to argue your way out or provide a list of reasons why you're leaving. You simply step aside because the resonance is gone. This happens because the version of you that required that specific pain to learn a lesson has dissolved. Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Karma is what we call life until that light is turned on. When you shine a spotlight on the shadow, the script of fate is rewritten as growth. There is a profound stillness in this realization. You might feel a brief wave of mourning, not for the person you lost, but for the version of yourself that spent so much time in the dark. You might even find it easy to forgive those who hurt you, not because their actions were acceptable, but because they no longer have any hooks in you. You are no longer a character in their tragedy. The past is no longer a map you follow, it's a museum you visited. You can see the exhibits, you can remember the stories, but you don't have to live in the building anymore. This is the first indicator. You no longer vibrate at the frequency of your old traps. The story that once defined you has become a footnote, not the headline. You are finally living the wisdom you used to just study. Sign number 2. You possess a stillness that doesn't rely on circumstance. The second sign of a cleared karmic debt is the emergence of a center that cannot be shaken by the world's fluctuations. After the loops break, a new sensation emerges, an internal silence. It isn't loud or flashy. It's like the heavy, peaceful silence that blankets the earth after a massive snowfall. You might be doing something entirely ordinary, driving to work, washing the dishes, or sitting on a park bench, and you suddenly realize that the constant hum of background anxiety has vanished. For years you lived with a low-grade feeling of dread, a sense that you were constantly bracing for a crisis or waiting for the other shoe to drop. This hypervigilance is a hallmark of active karma. It is the soul's way of scanning the horizon for the next repetition of a past wound. When that debt is cleared, the scanning stops. You aren't scanning for danger because you no longer believe you deserve to be punished. This stillness doesn't mean your life has become a perfect, problem-free paradise. You still face traffic, you still face bills, and you still face the complexities of human existence. However, your internal reaction to these events has matured. Jung believed the soul seeks wholeness, not perfection. Coolness means you no longer reject any part of your reality. You don't push away the bad days or cling desperately to the good ones. When karmic debt is active, you are in a state of internal civil war, caught between the regret of the past and the survival of the future. The subconscious keeps the water choppy to prevent you from seeing what lies at the bottom. But when the debt is paid, the lake becomes glass. You still feel emotions, you feel sadness, you feel anger, you feel joy, but they don't capsize your boat. They are like weather passing over a mountain. The mountain remains. You stop viewing a bad day as a sign of cosmic punishment. You stop asking, "What did I do to deserve this?" Instead, you ask, "How do I meet this moment with presence?" This piece is authentic because it doesn't need to be performed. You don't have to convince your friends you're okay, and you don't have to post affirmations on social media to prove your spirituality. You simply are. A clear soul does not need to shout its freedom. There is a newfound trust in your own resilience. You have found your true north, and it is located within you, not in the hands of others. This is your soul finally taking its first full, unhindered breath. Sign number 3. Abundance begins to flow without the friction of struggle. The third sign is a change in the way you interact with the material world. Once your inner world stabilizes, the outer world begins to reflect that harmony. This is often the most visible sign of a cleared karmic debt. After a lifetime of overextending, overperforming, and begging for crumbs of worthiness, you notice a shift in the current of your life. Consider how much of your life was spent pushing for recognition, pushing for love, pushing for financial security. In the state of active karma, everything feels like an uphill battle because you are essentially fighting against your own subconscious belief that you don't deserve the prize. Jung noted that the subconscious is the secret architect of our reality. If there is a block in the foundation, the house can never be built to its full height. If karma lives in that dark space, it acts as a psychic dam, blocking the natural flow of life's abundance. You may have been sabotaging your own joy because a part of you felt it was wrong or dangerous to be happy. Perhaps you carried an ancestral shame that decreed your family must always struggle, or a childhood belief that love only comes after intense sacrifice. But when the lesson is integrated, the brakes are released. Your energy changes from one of seeking to one of allowing. Doors that were jammed shut for years now swing open with a light touch. It's not that you've stopped working or stopped having ambitions, but the nature of the work has changed. The friction is gone. Where you once had to chase opportunities, you now find them arriving in your inbox. Where you once had to beg for attention, you now find yourself surrounded by people who naturally see and value your light. You stop overgiving as a way to buy affection. You stop pursuing people who require you to diminish yourself to fit into their lives. Perhaps the most telling part of this sign is how you react when good things happen. In the past, you might have felt a sense of suspicion. This is too good to be true. Or when will this be taken away? Now, you receive goodness with a simple, quiet thank you. You accept love and success not as a fluke, but as a natural rhythm of a life in balance. Grace finds you because you finally stopped hiding from it. You realize that abundance isn't a reward for being good. It is the natural state of a soul that has stopped resisting its own worth. Sign number 4. You are guided by mission rather than survival. The final and most transformative sign is a shift in your fundamental motivation. As the struggle fades and the noise of the past quietens, a new fire ignites within you. This is not the frantic, flickering fire of anxiety or the need to prove yourself. It is a steady, unwavering glow of purpose. When you are in the thick of karmic debt, your life is dominated by survival mode. Your primary goals are defensive. How do I avoid being hurt? How do I prevent being rejected? How do I make sure I have enough? Your decisions are made from a place of scarcity and fear. You choose jobs for safety, relationships for validation, and paths for approval. But once the debt is cleared, the desperate grip you had on life begins to soften. You are no longer occupied with just making it through the day. A deeper question arises from the silence. What am I truly here for? This transition is often quiet and subtle. You might feel a sudden, inexplicable urge to return to an old hobby, to start a project that serves the community, or to mentor someone who is currently walking the path you just left. You are less worried about your own healing because you feel whole and more interested in how your journey can light the way for others. Jung famously said that the greatest privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That privilege is only possible when you are no longer a ghost of your past or a servant to your ancestors' mistakes. When karma is active, you are reactive. You are a billiard ball being hit by the cues of old traumas. But when the air clears, you become the player. Purpose fills your lungs. It's not a stressful hustle purpose that leaves you burnt out. It's an invitation. You feel pulled by what is possible, not pushed by what is lacking. You stop wearing the masks you thought were necessary to survive. You speak your truth even when your voice shakes, because keeping it inside has become more painful than the risk of being seen. When you look at the horizon of your future, you no longer see a series of obstacles to be avoided. You see a landscape of legacy. You start to wonder what seeds you can plant that will provide shade for people you will never meet. The karmic fog has burned off, leaving a landscape of absolute clarity. You aren't trying to prove you are enough anymore. You are operating from the radical fact that you always were. This freedom allows you to serve, to create, and to love without an agenda. You are no longer trying to get something from life. You are here to see what you can give to it. The integration, walking into the new cycle. Take a deep breath. Let these words move past your intellect and settle into your bones. This is not just a list of signs to check off, it is an invitation to witness your own evolution. If you are watching this, it is because you have already begun the process of dropping weights that were never yours to carry. You have walked through the fire of your own shadow, and you have come out the other side with something precious, your own soul. Before you return to the demands of your day, I invite you to sit with the stillness we have discussed. Place a hand on your heart, the physical center of your being, and breathe into the space where the old pain used to live. Notice the spaciousness. Notice the lack of a sting. Ask yourself 3 questions. What old, repetitive story have I finally stopped telling myself? Which area of my life feels unexpectedly lighter than it did a year ago? What new, authentic version of myself is ready to step onto this clean slate? Transformation is rarely a lightning bolt. It is more like the sunrise. It happens slowly, degree by degree, until suddenly the world is full of light and you can see exactly where you are going. You have paid the debt, the ledger is balanced. You owe the past, nothing more. Tonight, I encourage you to perform a small personal ritual to mark this transition. It doesn't need to be elaborate. Light a single candle, take a long walk in nature, or write a letter to your past self, thanking them for their resilience and officially releasing them from their duties. Acknowledge that the old contract is void. You are clear, you are current, you are free. If you found a sense of peace or a click of recognition in this message, please like the video and subscribe to Winds of Thought. Our mission is to explore the deep architecture of the mind and the spirit, helping you navigate the journey of becoming who you were always meant to be. Tell me in the comments, which of these 4 signs are you feeling most strongly right now? Is it the change in your relationships, the new stillness in your mind, the ease of abundance, or the call of a new purpose? Your story might be the very thing someone else needs to hear to believe that their own liberation is possible. Remember, karma was never a whip intended to keep you in line. It was always a mirror, reflecting back to you the parts of yourself that were crying out for your own love and attention. Once you truly see yourself, once you meet your shadow with honesty and grace, the mirror is no longer needed. The glass dissolves and you are left standing face to face with your true potential. You are stepping out of the cycle of repetition and into the cycle of creation. Walk forward now, not as a survivor of a difficult past, but as the deliberate architect of a new, unburdened, and deeply meaningful future. The weight is gone, the path is open, the rest of the story is yours to write.